This is the issue, and I am the ghetto man. Today's issue: render unto Caesar's the things which are Caesar's. Well, what does that mean? We'll find out when we get back.
Lies! Lies! All lies! All governments lie! Lies! Lies! All lies! Your government is telling you lies! I was asleep, but now I've awakened. The tree of life has shown me the way. Corporate politicians have been exposed for the
All right, we're back. How many times have you heard somebody say, render unto Caesar's the things which are Caesar's? I hear it all the time. In fact, I've heard it all my life. What does it mean? Now, I'm not attacking anybody's faith or religious beliefs here. Believe me, I'm one person that really respects everyone's beliefs. We all have a right to believe and practice whatever lifestyle we choose. And as long as we're not violating another person's life, liberty, or property, it's nobody's business what we do. Well, where does this phrase, render unto Caesar's the things which are Caesar's, come from anyway? The phrase is a phrase that has been taken out of content and can be found in Matthew 22:21 of the Holy Bible. Now, I'm not pushing any religion here. No, I'm just not. But I'm attempting to make a point that may clarify or help you to understand how easily we can be fooled into believing things that are not true. Render therefore unto Caesar's the things which are Caesar's. Now, most people understand this phrase to mean that our government is likened to Caesar, right? Caesar was the authority of Rome. The United States government is the authority of the United States. So, render unto Caesar's the things which are Caesar's is a phrase that we can safely say is synonymous with render unto the U.S. government the things which are the U.S. government's. And, anyway, in the United States, is the United States government, is that our Caesar? Now, I've talked to a lot of people over the years, and most of the people I talked to would answer yes to that question. Well, why? Well, give you an example. I know that when I was coming up, if I said something like, this government is taxing us and they're taxing us to death and it's unconstitutional and illegal, the first thing I'd hear from somebody's mouth was, render unto Caesar's that's which is Caesar's. And I can thinking to myself, well, what does that mean? I mean, we're if the politicians and our government is violating the United States Constitution and not taxing us properly, why should I pay the tax? Well, apparently that was the catch-all phrase. You got to render unto Caesar what is Caesar. What's the matter with you, dummy? Because that's what we were all taught, wasn't it? By the way, Caesar means God-man. Okay, just let's explore these writings and examine the contents. Well, let's use a little reason, logic, and common sense this time. Perhaps there's another meaning to this phrase than we have been led to believe. If you have a Bible laying around and you want to follow along, just turn to Matthew 22, verses 15 through 22. Those will be the ones we'll be working on. Okay, in Matthew 22, 15 through 22, the Pharisees, those were the separate ones, and the most strict of the Jews and the most learned in the laws of Yahweh, they conspired. Is this a conspiracy theory? They conspired. Every time anybody says that somebody conspired, it's got to be one of those conspiracy theorists. Anyway, they conspired together on how they might entrap Yeshua into saying something that they could use against him legally. Something that would get Yeshua into trouble with civil government, Caesar, so that he could be arrested and put away. That was their purpose. That's what they came for. Verse 15. Then went the Pharisees, and they took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk. To accomplish this, the Pharisees sent out their students. Now, their students, they were also knowledgeable in the laws of Yahweh and the laws of civil government Caesar. They also sent with them the Herodians, and the Herodians were the ones that supported King Herod. They went out there to present Yeshua with a carefully prepared question that, if answered yes or no, would trick him into speaking against civil government Caesar or into speaking against the laws of Yahweh. Tricky devils they were. Conspirators, as it were. Now, in an attempt to gain Yeshua's confidence, the students of the Pharisees and the Herodians falsely, in their little trick and little conspiracy, admitted to Yeshua that they believed that what he was teaching was the truth, and acknowledged that they fully understood that he did not subject himself to any human authority whatsoever. Okay, the scripture reads as follows, verse 16, if you're following with me. Master, we know that you art true and teachest the way of Yahweh in truth. Neither carest thou for any man, for thou regardest not the person of men. Now go to verse 17. Tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? And here comes the deceptive trick question. Is it lawful to give tribute to Caesar or not? All right. Okay, now what the Pharisees and Herodians were doing when they were pulling the old do you still beat your wife question. If you answer yes, then you're admitting to beating your wife. And if you answer no, then you're at least admitting that you used to beat your wife. But either way, you're a wife beater. Anyway, most biblical scholars would have you to believe that Yeshua answered yes to this question. In fact, he never answered the question at all. The moment Yeshua heard the question, he recognized that it was not designed to entrap him. He saw what they were trying to pull on him. Verse 18, let's read together. But Yeshua perceived their wickedness and said, Why tempt ye me? Why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites? See, Yeshua was teaching his followers about the coming kingdom of Yahweh and the absolute need to obey the laws of Yahweh over the laws of man. We know that Yeshua never violated the laws of Yahweh or sinned. The scriptures clearly teach us that Yeshua was without sin, right? 1 Peter 2:22, who did not sin. Well, what is sin? Well, sin, says the scriptures say, for sin is the transgression of Yahweh's, of the law of Yahweh. And you can find that in 1 John 3:4, for sin is a transgression of the law. Sin is not the transgression of man's, Caesar's law, nor is it the transgression of the laws of Canada, China, USA, Montana, California, or any other form of government created by man. Sin is only the transgression of Yahweh's law. Now, remember, if Yeshua had acknowledged Caesar as sovereign and answered yes, it is lawful to pay tribute to Caesar or pay taxes to Caesar, he would have sinned, and the Pharisees would have used his answer against him by portraying him as a hypocrite and a false teacher, claiming that he was serving two masters, Yahweh and man, Caesar, right? Does that make sense? Upon the other hand, had Yeshua answered no to the question, the Pharisees would have turned him into the IRS as an illegal tax protester, wouldn't they? Well, in fact, that's exactly what they did. They accused him of being a tax cheat when he was brought before Pontius Pilate. Scriptures say, and then they began to accuse him, saying, We found this fellow perverting the nation of Rome and forbidding to give tribute to Caesar, saying that himself, Yeshua, a king. That's Luke 23:2. Okay, because the question was designed to entrap Yeshua, he never answered it. Instead, he said, go to verse 19 now, he says, Show me the tribute money. And they brought unto him a penny. Verse 20. And he saith unto them, who is this image and superscription? Verse 21. Verse 21, excuse me. They say unto him, Caesar's. See, when Yeshua asked them, who is this image on the coin? Yahweh's law immediately came into play. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord, the God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity meaning those who have transgressed Yahweh's law, of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of time that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Okay? Second commandment, found in Exodus 20, 5 through 6. Okay, now when you take a look, the very coin that was used to pay tribute or the tax to Caesar violated the second commandment, didn't it? It was in the graven image of Caesar. So in response to their answer that Caesar's image was on the coin, Yeshua said, verse 21. Now listen carefully here. Yeshua said, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's. And then he also said, and unto Yahweh the things that are Yahweh's. Okay, Yeshua's statement, when you think about it, immediately raises two questions. At least it does for me. First, well, what belongs to Yahweh? And second, what belongs to Caesar? Okay? Now, the written word of Yahweh says no less than 4 times that all things belong to Yahweh. The earth is the Lord's. Exodus 9:29. Behold, the heaven and the heavens of heavens is the Lord's thy God. The earth also with all that therein is. Deuteronomy 10:14. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. For he hath founded it upon the seas and established it upon the floods. Psalms 24, 1 through 2. For the earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. That's 1 Corinthians 10, verses 26, and then verse 28. Okay, now if everything belongs to Yahweh, what can possibly belong to Caesar? If it all belongs to Yahweh, what can belong to Caesar? Nothing. Not a thing. Didn't Yahweh create Caesar? Didn't he create all mankind? Didn't he create the earth? How in the world could Caesar become greater than that which created him? It's not possible. So we have Caesar, who's a creation of Yahweh, thinks now he's God-man, that the creation become greater than the creator. Well, that doesn't work that way. Believe it or not, Yahweh owns everything, including Caesar, right? Okay, now do you have eyes to see and do you have ears to hear? Now the first commandment prohibits those that love Yahweh from serving any other sovereign but him. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Okay, that's the very first commandment, isn't it? Exodus 20, verses 3 through 4. Now, didn't the chief priests openly admit, we have no king but Caesar? Find that in John 19, verse 15. How could the chief priests, who were supposed to be serving Yahweh and administrating his law, claim that we have no king but Caesar without putting themselves in the position of serving two masters? No man can serve two masters, right? Matthew 6:24. Yeshua never answered their question. Instead, he turned their trap back upon them, leaving them with a choice. They could choose to serve Caesar, or they could choose to serve Yahweh. verse 22 of Matthew 22. When they heard these words, they marveled and left him and went their way. They went their way. And they went their way what? Without an answer. Did you ever see anything in there where he said it was lawful to pay tribute? He turned it around and laid it back on them. Now, how in the world people can read those passages and come up with the conclusion that what they're talking about is that no matter what country you live in, you have to go ahead and obey the government. You have to render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's. Always render unto the government what they're doing. That is not what Yeshua said. And most biblical scholars put forth the proposition that Yeshua was instructing his followers to pay tribute to Caesar. I didn't see that in there. That isn't what the writings say at all. When you read the full content, instead of a pretext, just taking one little piece out of there, when you read the full content of the writings, there's nothing that remotely suggests that Yeshua's followers were to pay tribute to Caesar, is there? The Pharisees clearly put the state before Yahweh God. They gave lip service to Yahweh, but their hearts were far from them. Their hearts were with Caesar, God-man. In the United States, we the people is sovereign, right? We've discussed that many times on previous shows. In the United States, we the people, we are the Caesar. We are Caesar. So if we the people are Caesar, shouldn't we be saying, render unto we the people that which is we the people's? Now remember, this country it belongs to us. We the people are its rightful owners. I want you to think about that and give it a lot of thought. Because this is how easy it is to be deceived. People come up with an idea or a phrase, and if they repeat it enough times, then all of a sudden everybody believes it's true. And what we believe may or may not be true. People believe a lot of things that aren't true. We need to base not what we believe, but we need to base everything upon knowledge. Knowledge is knowing. You put the facts together and you know what this means or what it says or what's going on. If you say you believe something, what does that mean? I mean, people believed that the world was flat at one time and that if you reached the end of it, you'd fall off into oblivion. That wasn't true, though. Turned out to be round. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that point forward to you because as we go through with future shows, as we deliver things, there's always going to be a message here that's to help you to get enough knowledge that when you look at something, that you can say, and you take this knowledge and you apply it, and then you'll know whether or not it's true or not. But at least I hope that you always remain suspicious. When somebody tells you something, challenge them. Say, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's? Show me in the scriptures where it says that. And then take them through. Just take, all you have to do, all I did was just read through the chapter there. And the chapter, when you read it from verse 15 through 22, you see that there is that it doesn't say render unto Caesar what is Caesar. Yeshua actually said render unto Caesar what is Caesar, and that was Yahweh's, that to Yahweh. And see, people never sit down and say, well, God, what's the question then? Because it makes it sound like both Caesar and Yahweh can own something, when in fact that's not the truth at all. Anyway, I will in a future show show you that our nation was founded, for the most part, upon the biblical law found in the books of Exodus, Deuteronomy, Leviticus, and Numbers. And at one time, our country was, for the most part, in compliance with the laws of Yahweh. And we're going to discuss that. We're going to go through, Exodus, Deuteronomy, Leviticus, Numbers, and we're going to put this all together and show you how the law that was established the Mosaic law, the law under Moses, you're going to see that a lot of the things and most of the things originally were taken from there. Things like our appellate court system and things of this sort. But we'll cover that at a later day, okay? And as I was saying, that at one time, our country was, for the most part, in compliance with Yahweh's law. And during that time, we became the richest and most powerful nation on the planet since King Solomon. I mean, think about that for a second. Supporting the United States Constitution, once again, for the most part, is supporting the laws of Yahweh. Now, this part of American history has been deliberately removed by the communist left to further their agenda of anti-American, constitutionalophobic, anti-freedom. That's what this is all about. It's about removing our history so that they can promote an agenda that is designed to, one, keep you in total ignorance, and two, to totally destroy the United States Constitution and everything that it stands for. Well, with that said, long live the Republic. And remember, if you're politically correct, then you're legally wrong. And if you're not part of the solution, then you are the problem. I am the Ghetto Man. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Look what you've done to your world. It used to be a wonderful place to live. There's no truth here anymore. Just lies, corruption. The beast controls everything, terrorizing the planet, waging war against all who would resist his evil command. Everyone's now a suspect, guilty until the beast says otherwise. Welcome to the land of the free and the home of the slave. Created a republic where you were king, free to do as you wish, as long as you didn't violate anyone's life, liberty, or property. Separation of government powers, gold and silver coins, the right to own property, and freedom of religion were all yours. All of it has been destroyed by the beast in its vile, demonic, democratic process. There's nothing left but a shell of your constitution. Ha 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 ha! Don't pay the beast, your property will be taken away and sold to another mindless serf to be used in your stead. War has been declared on you by your servants. War against poverty, war against drugs, war against terrorism, and war against any nation who dares to defy the beast's dictatorial demands. All in violation of the supreme law of your land and the supreme law of the universe. Your Congress no longer answers to you, only the beast, creating laws that violate reason, logic, and common sense, even making the natural illegal, denying you access to the tree of life. Judges are irreversibly corrupt, perverting everything that's right, kissing the ass of the beast, and punishing all that desire true freedom. Your juries consist of mindless automatons that are nothing more than a rubber stamp for the prosecutor. Planet Earth is void of all truth. You have been lied to since the day you were born. The only thing that is true is that everything that you have learned from the beast is a lie. It's time for you to leave this planet. You must free yourself from the world's deception and become one with the natural law of the living, conscious universe. This is where eternal truth manifests itself. And the truth will make you free.
Thank you.
The tree of life is safely in his hands. The keeper knows who you are. Use the tree of life to make contact with the conscious universe. Use its flowers to meditate. Use it often. Inhale its vapors. Open your mind. You will see the truth. And the truth will show you how powerless the beast is against you. Gather the enlightened. Build spaceship Earth and leave the planet. Eternal freedom is yours. So say it. The keeper of the herb.